It was an early afternoon. Tony had just left the classroom for his final class of the day, and since it was a Friday, he didn't have any other classes the rest of the week, and he was just looking forward to the weekend to just relax. Tony was attending a college in New York, even though he was in fact from Arizona. He was leaving the campus and was going home to his apartment. He was actually having his small apartment outside of school campus. But when he was on the way home, he heard a voice behind him. "Hey, Tony!" He turned around and saw it was his best friend, Jane. Jane was also from the same town in Arizona as himself. "You're heading home?" Yeah, actually I am. Do you mind if I walk with you? I mean, we live close by. Sure, I don't mind. They actually have been best friends since they were kids. So, do you have any plans for the weekend? Uh, I don't think so. Why? How about you and I maybe, going bowling or something? Usually do that all the time back home. Yeah, why not? I mean, I don't have any other plans to do. Yeah, that sounds great. So, by the way, how is Caroline's studies going back home? Oh, um, well, she told me that her studying is going quite well, actually. Oh, are you planning to go back home to see her for your summer break? Actually, yeah, I am. So, have you thought of, you know, proposing to her after finish college or maybe before? I really don't know. I haven't really thought much about that yet, but it is one plan I had in mind, but just haven't decided yet. I mean, come on, you two have been together for such a long time, haven't you? Well, that might be true, but just, she would prefer to be focused on her studying before even thinking of getting married and all that. Yeah, I know, but perhaps you might just propose to her when you feel ready. Yeah, I might. Tony was actually together with a girl by the name Caroline. She is also a childhood friend to Tony. She was also from the same town, but she wasn't studying at the same college as Jane and Tony were. She was actually studying at this community college back home in Arizona, and they have been dating since the senior year of high school. And since now that he is studying in New York, he decided to try to maintain the relationship even when he finally found out that he had been accepted into the college in New York, which was his first choice. He was so excited that he was accepted in. But then one other small issue happened. His relationship with Caroline. He didn't know if this relationship would even last for a long distance. The only few times of the year that he can actually see her if we only go back during the spring break, summer break, and even winter break. But that is the only time of the year that he only can see her. And since they are so far away, he was worried that this long distance relationship wouldn't work out. But Caroline told him not to worry. They will always be able to have it work it out. Even the fact that they couldn't see each other personally, they could still FaceTime now and off more often. And he was okay with that, even though he was a little bit worried after maybe just 6 months or so, maybe not a year, she would have broken up with him. But it didn't happen though. Soon they arrived to the place where Jane lived. "I will see you tomorrow then for the bowling," she said. "Definitely. What time?" How about 1 p.m.? We can meet here by outside my place. Yeah, we can do that. Great. I will see you tomorrow then. Yeah. The rest of the day, Tony was just relaxing in his small apartment. And around 5 p.m., he actually got a call. It was actually from Caroline. Oh, hi, sweetie. How are you? I'm doing well. How's this studying going so far? She asked. Um, it's doing quite well, actually. How is Jane? She asked. Oh, you know, the same. I can understand that. Are you two going out to do something this weekend? Yeah, we're actually going out to play bowling tomorrow. Why? Jealous? No, not really. I mean, I know that she's your childhood friend, like myself I used to be, but I know you two are close, and she's seeing you like a sis, like a brother. Yeah, she told me that once. So yeah. Um. So yeah, how's your plans for the summer break? I mean, the summer is just only about a couple of weeks from now. She said. I'm actually going forward home to be with my family for a couple of weeks. Then maybe head back home or back here. Oh, well, I can't wait to see you. Same here. I wish we could be seen more often, though. I know, but when you got that opportunity to go to this particular college, I was so excited and happy for you. Same with your family. Yeah, that's true. Well, see you in December then. I can't wait. The next day, around 1 p.m. outside his apartment, he waited and waited, and soon Jane showed up. Sorry if you have been waiting for a little bit. No worries. Traffic? Uh, yeah, basically. And one of my neighbors talked to me for a few minutes. No worries. Should we go? Yeah. They went to the bowling alley and they played for a few rounds, and as always, Tony beats Jane in a round. Come on. Can you let me win for once a while? Hey, you had to try and keep your training up. You're a little bit getting a little bit rusty, haven't you? I mean, you play more often though, don't you? A couple of times in a week. A couple of times in a week? How do you even stand up with it? Even how do you keep it with your studying and all that? I always make time for that. Don't worry. So now what? Hmm. How about we go somewhere to just grab something to eat? I know a good place around the corner. Yeah, we can do that. And as if we're just standing there in the line for waiting for the food, Tony did mention to Jade that he was planning to propose to Caroline when he was getting back home. About time. But have you even got that ring or something like that? Actually, yes, I did get a ring about a month ago. Wait, I thought you told me yesterday you weren't ready to getting married yet or proposing. Was that a lie? No, it wasn't a lie. It more was like I forgot about it. Oh, well, that makes sense. Are you calling me forgetful? Yes, yes, I am. Well, I mean, I do forget some small things from now and then. Well, should we, you know, get the food? Yeah, let's do that. After that, they just went grabbed something to eat, and they just walked around in town for a little bit before he heading home. Later in the evening, Tony got a phone call, and he recognized the number. It was from Leo. Leo wasn't an actual friend of his, but more like acquaintance. They actually went to the same college. Tony gave his number to Leo once when they were part of a same school project. But it happened that Leo reached out to Tony if he needed help with some homework or even other project they were assigned to. Oh, hey, Tony. Oh, hey, Leo. What's up? Can I ask you something? Sure, is it? Do you have any plans by tomorrow by any chance? No, I don't. Great. Um, I'm actually having a smash making party tomorrow, and we have one guy short. I just wanted to ask if you could show up to tomorrow at the bar at 6 p.m. What? Um, I, I don't. Well, great. I will see you then there. All right. Bye. And he hung up the phone call. Tony was speechless. This was really out of the blue. Since they weren't really actually close friends in the beginning, he had no idea how to respond to this. So when Sunday came, he didn't do anything at all. He decided just to stay at home, to relax and just watch some movies. But when Monday came, when Tony was by his locker, he heard his angry voice behind him. Why didn't you show up yesterday? Henry turned around and saw Leo looking so upset. Why? What do you mean? What do you mean? For the matchmaking party? I invited you for the matchmaking party. You didn't even just show up. I didn't say I wasn't even going, said Tony, almost annoyed. Here I going to being a nice guy to invite you to get a girlfriend. Tony stood there completely dumbfounded. First, Leo, I don't need a girlfriend from your help, because I already have one. Oh, really? Who is it? Is it Jade? No, Jane is my best friend, and you know that. Then who is it? Her name is Caroline. Caroline. Oh, there's no girl by that name here. Well, she's not attending this college. Oh, you're making it all up then. Well, you will show up at this Friday for that particular matchmaking party, and you can't say no about it. But then, before he could say anything, Leo said, you have obligation to do so as one of my friends. And then he left. Tony stood there completely dumbfounded once again. And Jane, who heard all this, walked up to him and said, really? You going to the matchmaking party despite having a girlfriend already? No, I'm not. I know, just messing around with you. How can he say that you have an obligation, and despite you told him that you have someone already? Yeah, I don't know what is going on with this guy, but I'm just going to ignore that. And the rest of the week, he actually have no intention. When Friday came, he decided to just go out with Jane. They went out to eat something on a different restaurant. And when he suddenly were in that restaurant, he felt a call, and it was from Leo. And Leo was furious. Tony, where the heck are you? I'm out with Jane. I told you, you were going to have this smash making party. Leo, I told you, I was not had any intention to go. You can't force me to do what I don't want to do. Are you kidding me? But before he can say anything, Tony hung up the phone call and blocked his number. Well, that's taken care of. Hopefully that is all. Well, if I'm knowing Tony Leo right, this might not be over at any means. And she was right. But the next week, Leo walked up to Tony and he was so furious. And he even had some of his friends with him. They even told Tony that he do had obligation to show up. But when Tony said that he had no obligation to do so because they can't force him to go to a matchmaking party, the fact that he was already having someone in his life, they demand to see proof. And Tony, of course, doesn't require to do that, but and only wait for Haven to stop and finally Haven shut up. He showed his phone and said, "This is me and my girlfriend, Caroline. So, do you know it? No? So? Enough proof? Good, thanks. And please don't invite me anymore for these parties." And Tony just left. He can actually hear that that Leo and some of his friends is talking. And they were like, "You didn't tell us that he actually has someone already." And those one of the guys, "Dude, are you trying to break them up?" And then one of the guys actually overheard a voice behind them. It was Jane. Jane said, "Well, that's true. Tony and Caroline have been together since the senior year of high school. She may not be going to the same college as us, but she's going to college back home. Ever since that day, Leo stopped bothering Tony ever again. And when Tony went back home for the summer break, he did actually propose to Caroline. She said yes immediately, and both sides of the families were actually really happy about this. But he was just curious and a little bit worried that when he get back to college, he wondered if Leo would approach him again. Well, his worst fear did came true, because shortly after summer break was over, when Tony went back to college, Leo approached. But rather from forcing him to do anything, he was like, "Tony, I want to apologize." "That's the first. Well, I later find out that you actually got engaged, so uh congrats to that, and I'm sorry if I try to force you into these parties and matchmaking parties and all that. No worries. I understand that you wanted to find someone, and don't worry. I'm so sorry. It's fine. It's in the past. Let's be in the past." Rest of the college years time for Tony went perfectly well, and after he finished college, he moved back home, and he did end up marrying Caroline only about a year later. They decided to just have a small close wedding. Tony actually was studying software programming, and he actually ended up in a company that was working with software programs. And Caroline, she was actually working as a veterinarian in town. And they were just having a good time together as a married couple. But then, just 2 years after they got married, they were learned they were expecting their first child, and they were having a boy, which they named Jason. About 3 years later, they were actually having their second child, a daughter, which they named Emily. Even though that Tony himself was back in college, he was a little bit furious and frustrated that Leo was really much often trying to force him to go to this matchmaking party, despite he had a girlfriend at the time. And despite how many times he told Leo to simply back off, and that he had someone already, but despite that Leo was told, he didn't believe him. But after that, after Leo found out from Jane, it was true. And somehow, he and Tony actually, eventually over time, became friends, close friends. He was even invited to the wedding though. But Tony was really worried. He was a bit worried that this frustration of him would make him drop out of college, or maybe transferred to a whole different college. But he was glad he didn't do that, because would have made him have to repeat some of the classes and major classes and all that. But he was glad that he didn't do that though. Even during this time, He had kept Caroline informed of what Leo was trying to do. She wasn't really much worried or anything like that, but could see that Tony was frustrated. She told him not to worry about it because she knows that he wouldn't even do anything like that. But after time, she could see that he was considering to simply drop out of college or maybe transfer to a different college, maybe back home. But she told him to be confident, to be strong, and to just simply telling Leo to back off. And after he then mentioned to Caroline that after he showed a photo of him and her to Leo, that was the one made that was the one that actually made to Leo to back off. And of course Caroline was happy with that. And Tony couldn't be happier to that eventually stopped. And that is one of the few things about Tony that he respected Leo, even though in the beginning that they were only acquaintance. But even that he was frustrated how he thought that Leo was a nuisance, annoyance. But that eventually leads to back to be acquaintance, to be close friends. He was just a bit worried that he would lose someone that he considered as a friend eventually. Even though when all this happened, Caroline herself wasn't much any worried. She was only worried about Tony's well-being and a bit concerned if he would simply drop out of college or maybe. He did mention that he was considered either drop out of college or maybe to transfer to a whole different one. Maybe even to back to home state. But it didn't happen though. And she was glad for that, and Tony was happy for that too. And this is how Tony and Caroline, for the true love, got a big family together. The end.